think a lot of times when it comes to spiritual anything, people kind of freak out and don't accept themselves. And they fall into whatever culture that is trying to, make them who they aren't or not accept them. But here's the thing, if it's a culture that doesn't accept you, why be there? I think Carl Jung is the best at this. Our dark side comes out whether we like it or not. And if there's a culture that separates you from that or separates you from people, it's not meant for you. Everything's filtered through man. What works for one person doesn't work for the other, and vice versa. It's all in between how you feel about yourself. It's always about how you feel about yourself. Our projections on other people are usually reflections of what we've had to deal with, what we've had to face, either in ourselves or in our family line, which tends to be in ourselves. Some things are hard to admit. Just face it, accept them. You don't have to feed them if you don't resonate anymore. It's okay to grow. It's okay to break every kind of glass ceiling, every kind of limit you put on yourself. But these, different religions and everything, as much as I have a deep respect for them because they're there to help people find themselves, they're also there to kind of trap them in this mental prison. And you don't have to be in a mental prison just to find enlightenment. You can see enlightenment in a leaf. You can feel enlightenment in a conversation with your friends. If there's something inside of you that wants to get out, wants to be seen, it's okay to allow it to be seen. Sometimes certain things trigger us, from our childhood, from various different places. Sometimes they just trigger us. And we have to move on from there. We have to face those things that are triggering us rather than project it out onto other people. It's easy to say, oh, this person did this or this person did that. Yes, they did. Acknowledge it. Move on. The best way to get away from the wounds that somebody else is to face that wound. Accept that it happened and move on, because if you're still living in that wound, if you're still feeding that wound, if you're still thinking of that wound every time something comes up, then you are still feeding that person, that thing that happened. When you face it, when you really sit there with your old self and acknowledge what happened and understand, yeah, this is why I am how I am, and I accept myself for who I am, then you're finally, that radical acceptance, there's a liberation in that. A hell of a lot more than some untrue fairy tale where everyone has a crown, and there's flowers everywhere. When is life like that? Why would you even want it to be like that? There's contrast for a reason. We have our contrast. We have our good and we have our bad. I hear people blaming others because, their heartbreak and all that kind of stuff. That person has no obligation to you. They have an obligation to themselves. If they didn't want to be with you, then that's fine. That's how I am with relationships, anyways. And yes, it hurts. And yes, it sucks. When somebody picks somebody else, that's fine. But you can't dwell on it. I don't dwell on it. I don't give them any more energy because they requested me not to. I don't think about them because they requested me not to. And if I do, then I acknowledge that I thought about them and I try to move on. Because why stay there? If you stay there, you're just stuck. You're stuck in a spot where somebody else who rejected you doesn't want you to be there. So it's painful, you know. There's other people. There's gonna be people that want you to be there. That's who you want to surround yourself with. Those are the thoughts that you want to think. Those are the people that you want to give energy and feed. Not the ones that don't want to be there for you. Not the ones that are intentionally not there for you. Everyone needs help every once in a while. Everyone does. And, I've always kind of been on top of my game, always kind of helped everybody else. But, after my divorce, first time in my life, I really needed help. Maybe not the first time. I think there was another time. But not many times. And I've always been there for people. People have always lived in my house. And I never even thought anything of it. I didn't realize what a virtue that is. Having needed help. I didn't realize what a virtue it is being like that with people. Not putting any pressure on them because they need help. Just being there for them. You know, not expecting anything back. That's a gift to be able to do that. When you help out of abundance, that's very different than when you help out of lack. You know, but being in this mind frame of blaming other people for your issues, all that, you are the one that gets to decide how you deal with that. Either you're gonna get stronger from it, or you're gonna get weaker, or you're gonna dwell on it, or you're gonna let it break you apart. Maybe you do need to be broken apart, just so you can see how fucking awesome you are. Even with all your scars, even with all your darkness, even with all your light, how awesome you are. There's far too many times people try to use spirituality, magic, and everything to try to make themselves look like somebody else, or, sabotage somebody else because they're doing better. Bull crap. That none of that energy even matters. When it comes down to the end of your life, are you gonna look at all the times people were jerkies? No, you're gonna remember the laughs, the good times, the times people were there for you, the moments of truth you're able to experience with somebody. So be more present. If you're in a dark spot, if you feel like you're in a downward spiral and you don't know how to get up, then drop all the stuff from the past, because that's a past version of you anyways, and pay attention to the now and move on from the now. Start wherever you need to from the now. A lot of people right now with issues because of the economy, because of all sorts of stuff. Start from the now. Focus on what you can do. Write daily goals. Start moving towards them. Spend 5 minutes a day on something. Spend 10 minutes a day on something. Then 15 minutes a day on something. Something that's going to help you. Help your mind. Help your career. Help whatever area of your life you need to help. If it's self-esteem, then work on that. Look up different techniques and try them out 5 minutes every day. 10 minutes every day. Just move on from there. We're not meant to carry all these weights from the past. That's why they're in the past. You have right now. You have whatever's in the future, but right now is where you're at. Write your goals down. Or just look right now in the moment. Maybe, ask the universe, what are my opportunities right now? What can I contribute to right now? What do I want to do right now? Yes, I am. That's big. Where are we gonna go? I've had to restart my life many times. I've had to restart my career many times just to help out family members that were sick. I had to make twice as much as I made, and I did it. I just did it. Now, just do it for you. Just do that kind of stuff for you. Treat yourself like you would your best friend. Treat yourself like somebody that you love, that you would do anything, go to the ends of the earth for. Because that's how I live. There's nothing I won't do for somebody I love. Treat yourself that same way. Stop listening to the naysayers or the people telling you aren't good enough, because you've been good enough since the beginning. And if they can't see it, they're not the right fit. Narcissists like to break people down, try to make them feel like they're alone. Try to, make them feel ugly. Try to, have them cater to them only. Don't pay attention to those naysayers or those jealous friends. Move around. It's none of your business how other people feel about you. Just move around them. Look of energy to it. Have that separation and that, spiritual separation, even though none of us are separate when you think about it. We're all in the same fishbowl. But if it's something you move past inside yourself, you don't need to readdress it. Now, I'm not saying don't take constructive criticism or honestly look at yourself and be like, yeah, I am like that. So what? I accept it about myself. Be who you are. You were meant just to be you. You wanna know your meaning in life? Be you. That's the only meaning you have. So fucking enjoy.